Hermes, draw near, and to my prayer incline, in arts gymnastic and in fraud divine.
Dire weapon of the tongue which men revere, be present, Hermes, in thy suppliant here.
Welcome to Third Eye Bind, episode 19, Trickster.
Hi, I'm Laura.
And I'm Kaitlyn.
Welcome to Third Eye Bind.
I forgot what we're doing.
If you really like Third Eye Bind, this podcast you're listening to right now, you should please like, subscribe, rate, share, talk about us.
Tell your friends.
Tell your friends. Tell your mom. Tell your mom's friends. Mm-hmm. Tell your pastor.
Literally.
We really appreciate it.
If you love us, we would love for you to support us on Patreon. We have many different tiers with many different offerings, and with your help, this podcast can continue to grow and flourish. So,
yeah.
Oh, and thank you to all of our current patrons.
Yeah.
We love you and we appreciate you so much. In this episode, we are discussing
Trickster. The Trickster.
Mm-hmm.
The Trickster.
We have probably so much to say about this, like we do about most things. But before we start talking, let's
Coffee talking.
Let's pull a tarot card.
I'm very interested to see what comes up
Me
for Trickster.
too.
Because it's a very complex situation with the Trickster.
That's it. Okay. Do I get the
Okay.
deck? Yes. Yes. Okay.
What is it? Oh, two? Are there two?
Well, no, I grabbed this card and I was just curious what was on the bottom of the deck.
What is it?
That's funny. Okay. So the card for today is the Four of Cups.
Okay.
And the song on this card, I fucking love. It's Simon and Garfunkel. Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again.
Okay.
And I feel like that is a huge part. The Trickster is such a complex archetype, entity,
Yes.
domain of many, many different entities across the globe, and something that is, I think, misunderstood about the Trickster is their shadowy element. I think that is what the church and pop culture latches onto to turn the Trickster into some devilish force, when really the Trickster is so much more than that. The Trickster is about expansion of the self, of the imagination, of the universe, really, the heavens and the physical realms. And so I like this, hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again because, oh my God, this is actually for me. A few of the different tricksters that I work with are spirits that only come out at night. And I have to stay up late in order to commune with them. And they've been calling me, and I've been too tired to stay up with them. And yesterday I had a reading from a friend who was like, your nighttime spirits are calling you. And I was like, I know. And so here we are again. Hello, darkness, my old friend. So I hear you, tricksters, and I'll talk about them.
The Trickster is in our psyche. The Trickster is a part of us.
Ooh.
That's what people don't understand, and that you're absolutely right about like the demonization of Trickster, because Trickster is inherent in all of us when we stumble, when we fuck up, when we do the opposite thing of the thing that we thought was going to happen. Like it's like calling. It's like when you're in a meeting and you want to say something fucked up, but you don't. Your Trickster's like, we should say the joke now.
Yeah.
I have a lot of Trickster energy. I have I think I have a guide that's a Trickster.
Absolutely.
Juniper. What's up, Juniper? And it's just like that's how I feel all the time. And as a Gemini, a mercurial being, I think it's very fitting that we're talking about this today because I know that we both understand. We have a whole fucking podcast dedicated to disrupting boundaries of spirituality, and disrupting boundaries is precisely what Trickster is about.
We say the things that you're not supposed to say.
You're not supposed to say, or you're not. That's how you create change. That's how you induce creativity. That's how you shake the snow globe. I always say that metaphor because it's not destructive nor creative. It's both. And in a lot of these myths, which we'll go over a few of them that we researched, there's ambiguity at the end. They often don't end in a fairy tale wrapped up ending. They end. Trickster is morally amoral. It's an amoral figure. And that drives people crazy as humans to like, they want to be like, this is good or bad, right? But Trickster says no.
Trickster says, I don't know.
Says, I don't know. Poke the bear, if you will.
Trickster leaves you with more questions
Than answers.
And that's like the point.
That's the
I
point.
think, yeah.
That's the creative jumping off point. That's what I find endlessly fascinating. And if you're somebody who is a curious being and enjoys not having the answers on your spiritual journey or whatever, like then you'll benefit from working with Trickster if you're a creative person. And we can go over some of that too, like later, on how to implement Trickster into your practice and into your life.
Yes.
Anywho, what should we talk about? Like some
Should we
myths
talk about
or-
some? Yeah, let's pull up some of our faves that we.
So, Trickster is present through many, many cultures. It's one of the most diverse archetypes that you can find.
Literally everywhere.
Literally everywhere. So, why don't you go first?
Okay, so I mostly will be talking about tricksters from Latin America and the Caribbean. And I think it's important to note that Latin American and Caribbean tricksters originate from indigenous African spirits and indigenous to South America and Caribbean spirits. But one of the most important one in my personal practice, because I think that as a reader and a channel, ultimately I'm a storyteller. So my fave is Anansi. And Anansi is a spider folk spirit from West Africa, but who we also find in the Caribbean and throughout Latin America because of the Middle Passage. And there are countless stories of Anansi exercising his cunning, his cleverness, his trickiness. But my favorite one is the story of Anansi and the sky god, for it is through this legend that Anansi brought entertainment to humankind. And the story of Anansi and the sky god is that the sky god had this big chest, and in this chest were all of the stories. And Anansi is like, these humans are bored. All they do is work and sleep, and that's it. So he was interested in doing a little something, well, like going and get those stories for the humans so that they had something more. They had some pleasure. They had some entertainment to experience in their lives. And when he went to the sky god is like, look, kings have come to me and I've said no. What makes you think I'm going to say yes to you, a little spider? And Anansi is like, I'll do anything. And the sky god challenges him to collect these like giant, almost like supernatural animals, or at the very least parts of them. So there's a giant snake, there's a big leopard, I can't remember all of the other ones, a fairy. And through Anansi's trickery, he is able to capture he captures the whole snake, but all in parts of these giant supernatural beings and brings them up to the sky god. And so the sky god has to give him the treasure. And Anansi gives the treasure to people. And I think that's really fucking cool. And it's something that I see in quite a few trickster tales, is that like you said, they're amoral. They're all amoral. They're not interested in what's right or wrong. But quite a few of them are interested in giving humans a little bit of a break.
Right.
Offering us a little something, gifts. And I think that's really fucking cool.
The generous side of Trickster is not always prevalent, but it's you know, with the trickery, with the disruption and the destruction, that's what's necessary to create like life and give, like, that's the message to me of Trickster, is like this duplicity of sometimes you have to destroy in order to create. And I love what you said too about storytelling, because Trickster energy is like fucking everywhere in our society, and entertainment is trickery.
Yes.
Telling stories as the art of storytelling and writing a story, a fake story that you made up, and then telling it to someone and having them be like, oh my God, what happened next? That's a form of trickery.
Yes.
That we're entertained by books is trickery, but it's pleasurable. It's creative and inspiring, and
trickery isn't inherently evil or bad.
Not at it's necessary for life.
It's fun.
It's fun and necessary, and like actors.
Yeah, absolutely.
As an actor, you're tricking you're lying, you're tricking, and lying is a big part of Trickster also, like literally fucking lying. That's also a part of it. Lying to get what you want, get what you need.
Yeah, that's how Anansi tricked most of the animals, by lying.
Yes. So, and I'm going to talk about Hermes next, and yes, that
kind of reminds me of my eldest, who's 8 and also a Gemini, and like they are very much always pushing the boundaries and like making up stories and spinning yarns, if you will. And I always know when they're fibbing, and then they giggle and then they tell me the truth. But they're also really into bringing me little presents, like from the garden, stones that they found at school, things like that. And I'm just like connecting all of the like Trickster embodiments that they're expressing at this young age. It's kind of fun.
Kids are natural tricksters.
Absolutely.
Kids, that's how we learn. Trickster is present in children. That's just a part of how we grow. And really, I think when people say, I'm a child at heart or whatever, I think it's like, did you lose your child's sense of wonder? It's like, did you lose your trickster? Did you lose that connection with Trickster, which is embodied in comedy and humor and levity and all of these wonderful things that we use to survive and to cope.
To cope, yes.
To cope and to view things at a different angle, like laughter. And you go to comedians are tricksters because they're taking topics and they're spinning them on their head, or they're making us look at things from a different angle. And we laugh about it in the moment. And in that moment, we're able to separate from it. We're like astral fucking projecting on a minute level within ourselves to like see another view, to go past a boundary that's been given. Like, that's so fucking important to me in life, to like just cope. There's a great quote by one of my personal heroes, Carrie Fisher. Rest in peace, Carrie Fisher.
You've got like,
I know.
You have a General Morgana hair right now.
I do.
You
Fuck.
do.
Okay. And I have the exact quote. She said, "If my life wasn't funny, it would just be true, and that's unacceptable." So she was someone who taught me how to use levity as a tool, and just that's how I cope. Yeah. And it's not dissociative. It's not dissociative.
It's more like to help us understand, like to make sense of things that can't be made sense of,
or hard to swallow.
Yeah, I've noticed there are so many Trickster stories that are really origin stories, either about animals or places or people. And really, like, what I gathered from that is that these stories exist to help us form some sort of human understanding around the unexplainable.
Yeah.
the things that are hard to grasp. They give us something to grasp onto through lore.
And they also teach us about creation. Like
literally, yeah.
Literally, there's a lot of trickster creation that created the world. Like that's how the world was created in a lot of these myths.
Yeah, a lot of indigenous to Turtle Island peoples have Old Man Coyote or Coyote as the trickster and creator. And he's generous, but also greedy and selfish and learns lessons.
Yeah.
Despite being the creator. And also, I feel like that's kind of reassuring, you know? Like in Christianity, they say that God made us in his image, right? And if the creator is a trickster, then that means exactly what you said at the beginning, that we are all
the trickster is a part of us. It's just, when does it come out? Because what does trickster do? It pushes against societal bounds.
Yes.
So when I often want to say something inappropriate for my own fucking pleasure, that's invoking that's my trickster energy, and I often do. And often in public. So like that, you know, sometimes that's just, I get a kick out of it. So I told a woman who was older, I don't want to say an old woman, but like she was fucking beautiful. And I told her that yesterday in Target. That's almost trickster, because we're not supposed to do that. Especially in this day, like little things like that too, where it's like, you're beautiful. Oh, unfortunately, that's not the norm. But, you know, telling an older woman that they're beautiful is unfortunately not the norm.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I was like, I'm going to tell her, because I felt it. Anyways.
I love that.
In Japan,
tell us a story.
Okay, I was going to say, in Japan, Japanese folklore, and this originates from Chinese folklore, so they both have a lot of fox energy. So the kitsune in Japan are fox fairies, and they are shapeshifters, and they're trickstery, and they can shift into human form, and they're associated with the Shinto spirit Inari, who was present at the creation of Japan. So, and she brought, get this, grain and rice, because there was no food. Right. So they
give gifts.
Yes, the gifts, again, of food, of that hunger, and that we can talk about that more too, like just the raw hunger associated, the animalistic hunger, and the hunger associated with trickster also, and I thought that was interesting that it was
about
a goddess that was feeding the country at its creation with these kitsune like attendants. You know?
That's fucking cool.
Yeah. Another cool thing about these creatures is that they can have up to like 9 tails.
What?
Yeah, and you can tell how old and wise they are by how many tails they have. Like it's like tree rings.
Like tree rings.
Yeah,
yes.
It's like how old they are means they're more badass. So
very cool.
The older they are, the better they are.
I love that.
Isn't that cool?
Yes. And I also feel like that loops back to what you were saying just a few minutes ago about like, you know, how in current culture appreciating the beauty of an elder woman.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, like American culture does not appreciate elders at all.
No.
And so I think
she
that's
had many
really
tails, this woman I saw at Target. And I was like, you're hot. Bye.
You are a babe.
You are a babe. Bye.
I love that.
But let's talk about Hermes.
Hermes, our patron spirit.
Hermes.
Our muse.
I felt Hermes energy when I was researching, like, I got like kind of sweaty, and I was like, even now I'm like, ooh, I'm tingly. And like, I mean, if you dedicate an entire podcast to an energy, that's going to happen through speaking. And it's just like,
as soon as you said his name, like right? I got the shivers.
Okay, so Hermes is a messenger. He's a phallic god.
Yes, he is, which is something a lot of tricksters have.
Tricksters operate from below the belt. They like to talk about shit, which I'll get to later. They want to shit and fuck, okay?
Literally.
Shit and fuck.
Shit, fuck, and eat.
Shit, fuck, eat, repeat.
Yeah.
That's
Truly.
That's literally trickster energy. And I'm okay with that.
I think that's humans at our most basic form, right?
Yeah. I think it's they're very relatable and a part of us, and it's fucking cool.
It's delicious.
It's fucking good. It's the things people don't want to talk about. It's the taboo subject.
The improper stuff.
Improper. So get this. There were statues of Hermes, like square statues. They were called Herms. And they were placed at crossroads. Something to provide direction because he is a messenger god. That makes sense to me.
And a spirit of travel.
But the penis would would
Point in the direction. Yes.
So there's
Incredible.
this big old dong just like pointing in the right direction. Like that's fucking funny.
That's fucking like the essence of every person with a penis. Like
Dicks are never
led
not
by the
funny
dick.
to me. Dicks are inherently funny to me because they're just like hanging out.
They're on the outside.
They're on
It's wild.
They look like little nanas, just like, and they go boop. Like, come on. And they have balls? What is even a penis? It's so weird.
Balls are so wild.
Balls are wild. Like, what? Balls are wild. So anyways, I really we should add a penis to this bust of Hermes we have behind us.
Which direction would it point?
Just up. So Hermes is a little fucking shit. Let's talk about baby Hermes because Hermes is the son of Zeus, a son of Zeus.
One of many.
He's a god, Olympian god. So Hermes' brothers and sisters include like Artemis, Apollo, Hephaestus, Aphrodite, like all these people, right? The cool ones, the ones we know, right? So Hermes is a fucking baby, right? And he decides, cool, I'm gonna crawl out of my crib and I'm gonna kill a tortoise and then I'm gonna make a lyre with it, which is a musical instrument,
right?
Like a little banjo.
Yeah.
The baby. So then he plays it, and then he gets hungry and he's like, I want meat. So then Hermes steals his brother Apollo's sacred cattle. He goes out and he's like, I'm hungry. And he goes and like steals 50 of these cattle and he hides them in a cave because he's like shady. But he makes them walk backwards into the cave so that it's harder for them to track where the cattle went. Like, this is a baby. Okay.
Kids are wild.
Kids are, again, with the kid thing, right? So then, okay. So then he's like, all right, so he kills 2 of them and he like barbecues them. And then he goes, no, I'm going to hide the meat instead. So then instead of eating it, I don't know why, he hides the meat and he goes, maybe he feels like, oh, fuck, I
don't want to get caught.
I don't want to get caught. Shit. Yeah. So then he like hides the meat, hides the fire, goes back to his crib. So Apollo's like, what the fuck, Hermes? Excuse me. What the fuck, baby Hermes, you fucking ass?
I'm just a baby.
No, literally. And so Hermes is like, I am just a baby. I do not know what cattle are. What are you talking about? Literally just lies. Just lies. And Zeus is like, I don't believe you. So no one really believes him. And then Hermes is like, but I'm cute. And Apollo's like, okay, I love you, bro. So then they make up. And Apollo gives Hermes a whip, a gift, and a symbol for cattle tending, just what he needs, and a caduceus.
Oh, that's where the caduceus comes from.
Which is a staff and a symbol of outlaws, not doctors.
Yeah, with the serpent.
So the fact that doctors use a caduceus as a symbol,
it's fucking weird,
is fucking trickster.
Well,
okay,
Hermes is also associated with healing and medicine.
True.
Isn't that wild?
But also liars and outlaws.
Isn't that weird that all of these things go together? And a lot of different tricksters have all of these things mushed together.
Yes. So here's the coolest part of this story. He gives him the caduceus and he dubs him the messenger of the gods. And that's how Hermes became the messenger. I don't know how he got that, but okay.
He's like, you little storyteller.
He's like, little storyteller, yeah. He's like, you're good at talking shit and lying. Let's make
give
you
you
the
a job."
messenger. Yeah, let's give you a job. But Hermes gives Apollo the lyre that he made, and he becomes the god of
That's
music.
why Apollo plays the lyre.
That's why Apollo, and then that informs
Gifts.
all of Apollo's followers and his
Yeah.
lineage and
Pythia, the Oracle of Delphi.
the inventiveness of Trickster, the creativity of Trickster, because without bounds, creativity is endless.
Yeah.
But also with bounds, pushing against them is informs and
Yeah.
creativity and is inspiring within itself.
Absolutely.
So
He basically
Yeah.
gave Apollo his thing.
yeah, he did. And songs are how these tales were passed down. The Greek chorus, things like that. So tales of Apollo were passed down through song, and Hermes is the reason for that. Trickster is the reason for that, right? So there's also a point about the story where he's a tortoise killer, okay? He killed a tortoise.
Yeah.
But he had to destroy in
He had
order
to do
to create
something naughty in order to,
to create this cool new instrument. He had to kill something. And so sometimes those things require each other to make change.
I also feel like when you're talking about the death of the tortoise for the lyre to come into existence, I feel like there is some sort of natural and mystical understanding between humankind and animals. When you think about how so many indigenous cultures ate meat before it was the fucking American industrial farming complex. There is this understanding of sacrifice and balance, and I don't know, that's cool.
I mean, that's just how destroying and eating are kind of a very essential part of why we're even here right now. Right? I mean, it's
Trickster out of balance.
But having the
bit.
reverence too, and understanding the cycle of life, and like we talked about in episode 1 of this podcast, accepting death and being present for death and consuming death just popped in my head, so I'm gonna say that. Consuming death and digesting death
as a part of the life
as a
cycle.
part of the life cycle is a part of life that we don't
we don't talk
embrace
about
in this culture, in Western culture.
No,
in
we don't
America,
embrace it in
I should
America.
say.
This is also reminding me of one of the old coyote stories
Yes.
in which he's the creator spirit, and as he's creating all of first he creates ducks. And then first there's friends, I
mean,
and
why
then
not?
The ducks swim down and they bring him soft earth. And from that soft earth, he makes the plains, the hills, the mountains, caves, valleys. He adds more rivers and ponds and oceans. So there's always somewhere to drink fresh water. And then he makes the animals. And then eventually he gets around to making the humans. And one of the younger coyotes that he makes is the humans need some sort of weapons. And so old man coyote makes them weapons, and then young coyote is like, well, why aren't you giving the animals weapons too? And he's like, humans are slow and dumb. They need the extra help. You are smart and fast and clawed and fanged. You're gonna be fine. And that part of the story kind of made me laugh, because I think that humans have this weird superiority complex, at least in, again, the Western world. We have this weird superiority complex over all of creation, and we don't realize we are the lowest on the totem pole.
Look, I went on a bear attack
on the bottom
rabbit hole. Don't ask me why. I was Googling bear attacks, and you're not going to survive a bear attack.
No, bear's going to win.
I listened to the Grizzly Man audio. I don't know. Sometimes it was fucked up, man. You could hear it like chewing on his head and shit. It was fucked up. And I was like, God damn these bears. And there were people people were commenting like, don't the bears know that there's something wrong? And I was like, fuck, no, they don't.
Bears
they know
are doing
they're
exactly
hungry.
what they're supposed
it's
to
time
do.
to go in hibernation, and this motherfucker's in their space.
Yep.
They don't know you. They're bears. They don't know you.
No.
White people. I swear to
literally.
fucking God. No reverence.
No reverence.
No respect.
No respect.
So, okay. I have another coyote story.
Tell me.
It's my favorite one.
Ooh.
Oh my God. This story is like made me laugh so fucking hard. So
The coyote stories are really good.
Native Americans have very, very, very detailed, fucking hilarious, beautiful stories about Trickster.
Yeah.
Like a lot of them.
There are a couple of elders who are on YouTube who are like sharing the oral tradition too. It's really good.
Wow, how special is
Yeah.
that? We should link to that.
Yes. I will
Let's
add that to
we
the
will
show
add
notes.
that to the shoe notes.
Show notes.
Okay, so I also think it's cool like the other animals help Trickster.
Me too.
Like Raven.
They're all
or-
in on it. I wonder if you're going to tell a story that...
It's the shit story. Do you know what I'm going to say?
No, I was thinking
Oh
of
my
the
God,
skunk
you don't
story,
know this?
so you
Okay.
tell me.
Okay, so this is a story about shit, okay? It's the greatest story of all time. So, and I apologize if there are many retellings, and I apologize if this isn't the one you've heard, but this is the one I researched, okay? So, Coyote is out, sees, or here's some rose hips, and the rose hips are saying, if you eat me, you're gonna get gas. The rose hips are like, if you eat me, you're gonna get diarrhea. Okay.
They're
And
being very transparent.
they're like, look, you don't want to eat me because you're gonna shit your pants. So Coyote goes, no, I'm gonna eat you anyway. So then Coyote eats the rose hips because what's the worst that could happen?
Yeah, that's what Trickster does. Fills his belly.
What's the worst that can? I'm hungry. So then he gets mad farts, mad shart energy, and is like, oh my God, I have to fart so hard right now. Oh, this just gets better and better. So then Coyote is like, oh, it's like wandering along like, shit. And he sees two crows picking at a dead buffalo, as they do. And he says, hey, you want to play a game where we see who can... Hey, you want to play a game where we see who can poop shoot the furthest? Like, I bet you I could poop shoot from one side of this buffalo to the other, the length of the buffalo.
Trickster loves a competition.
He sees an opportunity and goes for it, okay? So then they're like, he goes, whoever shits the furthest gets to keep the buffalo and eat it. And I go, okay. Okay. So one of the crows, his poop chute only goes halfway across the buffalo.
You're not going to win.
And they're like, fuck. And then Coyote, full of the gas from the rose hips, just butt explodes and just goes and like just goes all the way across the buffalo. And they're like, wow. They're like, oh, the crows are like, holy shit. The way that I take notes, the way that I literally wrote my version of this story is so funny to me. One of the crow's poop chutes only halfway. Coyote, full of gas, sharts hard across the buffalo, wins. The crows are like, holy shit. Coyote agrees to share. And I wrote sandbagging, which I was going to look up where that comes from because that's kind of what this story is about. It's about seeing your shot. Mm-hmm. Well, he knows he has an advantage.
That's the thing
So
about
he goes
Trickster
into it.
games.
Yeah.
Trickster only says yes to games he thinks he's going to win.
Yeah, or there's a very good reason why. And that's just like a trickstery ass thing to do. And also kind of smart. So then I wrote sandbag when someone sandbags you. And then I was like, where does that term come from? And then Mike was like, it's probably some racist
Probably.
And I don't know if it is. We should Google it real quick. Fuck it. Let's Google sandbagging. Where does that come from? Because that's what he did.
Sandbag term.
Oh.
Origin.
Oh, God.
It originates from the 1880s and relates to somebody who sneaks up on another person
What?
from behind.
No.
And beats them with a sandbag. Why is this so funny?
Wait. Are you fucking kidding me right now?
No.
I'm crying.
I mean, this is only the first page of Google, but
Wait, so it originates from the 1880s?
1880s.
In where? Here?
I don't know. Let's find out. Click.
That sounds like a Wild West thing to me. It sounds like a
bagging etymology.
manifest destiny activity to me. What the fuck?
No, literally, like it's a term used to describe bludgeoning someone,
With a sandbag.
usually right before you rob your victim.
Look, that's fucking hilarious. The visual's hilarious. I'm here for it, and I love that that is what it means.
It
because
says,
that's
yeah. I think by the
hilarious.
1940s, it became more of like a strategy in which a poker player with a good hand bets weakly in order to draw other players into holding onto their hands and raising the bet.
Trickster ass activities. Okay, TAA. Trickster ass activities.
Trickster ass activities.
Yeah, going up on someone and fucking them up with a sandbag is a TAA. Okay, well, we learned something
Fucked
new.
up.
Wow.
One of my, let's see, who else?
You know, I'm going to glaze over Loki real quick because I tried and I couldn't get in. I can't get into the Norse stuff as much.
Me either.
I just wrote Loki steals Thor's wife's hair, thinks it's hilarious. That's literally all I fucking wrote. So,
Me too. If somebody wants to share some Loki lore with us, that'd be
I know
cool,
that
'cause
Loki's.
I
a
also
trickster.
have a hard time with the
I
Norse
just-
stuff. I'm just like, my brain
And then
doesn't.
there's the Marvel aspect, and I'm like, I
Yeah.
don't want to talk about this shit.
Marvel is just like military propaganda for
Yeah.
98 minutes.
So
Fuck that.
so over that shit.
Okay.
We're not going to talk about that. Is my point.
Let's see. So
You can't top the shit story.
you can't top the shit
Good luck
story.
with that. What you
I had
got?
a funny skunk and
Okay, I
coyote
wanna hear the
story, but
skunk.
I might
Is
save
it-
it for
okay,
Patreon.
okay.
But on the subject of like trickster animals, we have coyote. We also have conejo. In Latin America,
Conejo.
we call him Tío Conejo, but it's the bunny.
Uncle
The rabbit.
Uncle Rabbit. Oh, I know you're going with
And
this.
in North America, they're called Brer Rabbit.
Brer Rabbit.
And this is a spirit that was brought over by the African enslaved also during the Middle Passage. And what I think is so interesting about both Brer Rabbit and Tío Conejo is that what they have is what's considered tricky about them is really acts of resistance against their oppressors. And so Brer Rabbit, especially through like the whitewashing of, I guess, publishing industry.
Yeah, isn't that what Splash Mountain's about?
Yeah, it's fucked up.
And it's racist.
Yeah, I've never actually seen Song of the South because I think it was already like disappeared by the time I was old enough
But
to.
the ride is based on that.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Well, and the thing is, they try to make Brer Rabbit out to be lazy. But Brer Rabbit's really just like, fuck this shit. I didn't ask for this, and I'm gonna do everything I can to drive you fucking nuts
Yeah, good.
and steal and like do all this. Cause like, why the fuck not?
Yeah,
why the fuck not? Right?
Trickster often appears where there is oppression.
Exactly.
Like, that's where Trickster thrives.
And I think that's a big part of why Trickster gets villainized and demonized, because they're like, that's devil shit. That's devil shit. In order to trick the oppressed out of embracing these entities and these energies who show you the back door, the way out, the alley, the trap door,
Yes,
all
the
these
trap
little
door,
ways
the
that
truth,
like
the man
you
behind
can
the curtain.
fight against whatever is trying to like tear you down. And I
Yes.
think that's fucking amazing.
That's essential to your development of your discernment. Something we talk about a lot. That is a tool you can use. Trickster is a fucking tool.
Absolutely.
It jolts us out of a rut. It exists to it's to resist. It exists to resist.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
that's very it needs to exist now. Like it's very relevant to the world today. Like completely.
A trickster.
A boundary crosser.
Yes, a boundary crosser. And when you think about how so many of the boundaries that exist right now, especially in the Western imperialist world, they're fucked up. All of the boundaries and limits and standards and expectations are that of white supremacist capitalism. And you're absolutely right. Like embracing the trickster is what gives us the ideas, the creativity, and honestly, like the gumption, the like audacity.
The audacity.
Yeah, the audacity to act on those ideas and to like try a thing in order to fight back. And I think that's fucking radical.
Protesting is trickster energy. Like any sort of rebellion is trickster. Like talking about these things right now is trickster energy.
Yeah.
Like that's why we do what we do. And we're getting very good feedback on this.
We are getting amazing
People
feedback.
are hungry for trickster energy. I think they just need not permission, because I would never give, but they need to hear it spoken, to be validated in maybe what they're already feeling inside, to act upon it. Because
when you think about how, like, even the devil, Lucifer, is a trickster. He finds Jesus in the desert in the middle of his like 40-day stint of a lot of nothingness and contemplation and fasting, and he's like, I'll give you food.
I'll give you food. And Lucifer is the light bringer.
Exactly. Lucifer's literally the light bringer.
So what does that mean? Light as creation,
The morning
light
star.
as power, light as showing you the way.
Lucifer rebelled against God because he was like, I'm not feeling whatever it is that you're trying to force all of us angels to do, and I'm going to go, and all of these people are coming with me.
And look what happened to him. Got demonized.
And of course he's demonized because the
course.
church doesn't want us embracing somebody who will teach us how to fight back.
Yeah. It reminds me of the church demonizing pagan gods and brown and black gods and polytheistic societies. Anything that's not them, they demonize. It's nothing new.
Anything that's
God,
not the one true
sick.
Sky Daddy.
It makes me sick because but then they often defile these entities and these deities and twist them into their own narrative to assimilate people. That just fucking pisses me off.
That makes me think of Eshu. Eshu has many names. Eshu, depending on what part of the diaspora you're from, Eshu originates from Africa, but you can find him all over Latin America. In Cuba, he's Elegua. But in Brazil, he's Eshu, EXU, and there are entire cults of Kimbanda that are dedicated to Eshu. And Eshu has hundreds of different paths, which are different stories and different appearances. But the church, through conquest, his image was kind of transformed into red skin and horns. And his consort, Pombagira, it has also been transformed into like what they consider a stereotypical like prostitute with like lots of gold and also has horns and a tail. But like Eshu and Pombagira are guardians. They're protectors, and they help you embrace your shadow. They help you embrace your darkness. In fact, they are mirror images of the parts of yourself that you reject and are the most ashamed of. They are like, this is literally you. This is that part of you is me. And Eshu and Pombagira are often feared, often considered evil. But really, like, it's a matter of
Perspective.
It's perspective. They're also amoral. They'll help you with whatever you need help with.
Yeah.
They will heal whatever needs to be healed. They will bring to you whatever you ask for if you ask in earnest, right? And they're not so much interested in like, well, is that what you should be doing? Is that what you should be doing? No, they're like, you want that? You got it. No problem.
What is up with the horned? It's the horned god. It's like the horns as it's evil. Like that's the horn. It's not.
Because they're the
Like,
most
you know,
powerful.
I can't even talk right now
Like,
because they're the
Horned
most
spirits
powerful.
are the most powerful.
Yeah.
So they're like, we're going to make that Satan
Yeah.
TM.
It's so fucking ingrained. It's you can easily see how these tricks, well, how anything other than white patriarchal Jesus is demonized. You can see that this is not just historical shit. This is like in Peter Pan, when Disney does this shit a lot, where they, you know, how they portray Native Americans you can see it in the illustration. You can see the bias. You can see
physical.
the lens.
Yeah.
That it's like so in the Song of the South. You can see in the crows in fucking Dumbo, like
Yes. Oh my God. I haven't seen Dumbo in so long.
the
I
WB
forgot about
frog.
that.
You can see like
Yeah.
and it's interesting because they twist it into
Even Mickey
these,
Mouse
and
was a
Mickey
minstrel, yeah.
You can see like how animals are twisted to
into
take it back to
representing
Trickster.
black and brown folks. They're like, we'll just
Yeah.
make you into animals so
And-
that we can make fun of you.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
And look, that's a form of Trickster. That what they're doing. Trickster is not always positive. That's the thing about Trickster. It's amoral.
Anybody
so it
can
be
invoke
used,
Trickster.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's important to understand when that's happening to you, what lens it's coming from, because as spiritual practitioners, we all have a bias, right, of some sort that we're either working on removing or trying to be very conscious of,
Or ignoring.
and just putting things out. So it's almost like you need to out Trickster the trickster, or
Yeah.
use Trickster against Trickster to know when you're being tricked. It's like
Yeah.
it's
like,
it's a complicated.
yeah. Well, like Trickster can't be the only energy you embody.
No.
Because that's when shit gets out of balance real fast.
Yeah.
Because I kind of touched on this in the devil episode. Like the devil, the trickster, doesn't tell you when to stop.
No.
The trickster just keeps going because their belly's never full. They're always hungry. So they just keep going and going and going. And if you don't have other types of entities, archetypes that you engage with, then you can really get lost in the spirit of the trickster. And
Sometimes comedians take things
yeah,
too far.
Exactly. It stops being a rebellion and it just starts being fucked up.
Yeah. More detrimental than healing.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
More
it's,
harmful than healing.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a balance. Because for me, my tendency is that sincerity makes me uncomfortable. Because I was not brought up in a house where that was sincerity was I don't know, it just wasn't a thing that we sort of embraced. So over my lifetime, I've had to check and kind of tone down my trickster energy at times, because look, you don't want to be in a funeral and say something fucked up, which look, I've done because I didn't have enough awareness and I was high.
We learned
So,
through experience.
Look, we learn. I was stoned as fuck. I think I took pot and Xanax, which was a very interesting combination. I acted very inappropriately at a funeral. Okay. I regret it. It happens. We move on, we learn. But like, that's an example of when
Trickster
that
goes too
took
far.
over and went, okay.
Yeah.
So yes, like checking yourself and just being aware of that is important, because it is used. Politicians are tricksters.
Absolutely.
Tricksters aren't just cool. They are, but they're also not. Like,
Anybody can invoke the trickster.
It's just amoral. So you need to have a moral compass and discernment so you can navigate what that means for you. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Trickster can't be the only one.
It's like when I go, you can haunt me, and you're like, Laura, we're just
I'm like, literally stop.
You're like, literally, I'm going to leave.
She doesn't mean
and
it.
I think it's funny, but like when I think it's funny and it's amusing, that's my trickster being
Absolutely.
like, which is, I just have a lot of it. Okay. Something else that's interesting to me is using trickster for healing or to turn to. So an example I thought of was like Mel Brooks, who's Jewish. It's like The Producers. Have you seen The Producers? It's a musical. So he uses Nazis as a punchline in his musical. And there's this whole thing called Springtime for Hitler. And it's like the name of the fake show within the show. That's him, a comedian, taking his pain and using it and turning it on its head. And that's pretty trickstery to just be like, hey, taking like ownership of it and sort of using it in a creative way. It's like kind of a mundane example of how that can be done.
Through performance.
Another example of it I'm going to talk about is what I'm currently doing with. So,
the sticker?
Juggy. I won't go too much into this. But it's real. I thought about this yesterday because there's this company called Juggy. They're stealing my shoe charm designs and selling them. There's nothing I can do about it other than make a funny ass sticker and sell it. And the sticker says, what does it say? Juggy is fuggy. They can suck a nuggy. And I'm selling them. And all the proceeds are going to my mental health snack fund. Okay. That is an example of me using trickster energy to make myself feel better, because that's all I have. That's all I can do.
You can't stop what's happening.
And in turn, people are sharing it and it's fucking funny. Okay. And that's spreading away. So anyway, that's a current, I get just such a kick out of that.
I think art is a really great way for the trickster to be expressed and embodied. Absolutely. I love it. I love the trickster.
I love Trickster.
Do we want to share any other stories? Do we want to share some of our reader feedback? What are you feeling?
I do have one more story because a lot of these tricksters are male or portrayed as male, right? So I was like, I'm going to find like a female trickster goddess.
Yeah. Did you find Eris?
Yes.
Yeah, Eris is like my patroness.
Yeah. So I was going to talk about the Trojan War story. Yeah. And I think you've mentioned this before, because it's funny when I, okay. I'm just going to tell the story. So Eris is the goddess of chaos. And is responsible for the Trojan War.
Absolutely.
The Trojan War, you can Google it if you don't know what that is. Trojan horse, Trojan War. So it's another Laura summary, okay?
I'm actually really excited for the Laura version of this.
So Eris, Achilles' parents, who I don't remember the names of, were getting married. They hadn't had Achilles yet. That's just important because, we know who Achilles is, right? So Eris wasn't invited to the wedding. How rude, because she's the goddess of chaos. You don't want to invite her to the wedding. I understand that notion.
You don't want to, but
so
maybe you should.
She goes anyway and crashes, wedding crasher style, just busts in. And everyone's do-do-do. And she's like, here's this apple, everybody. I'm going to toss this golden apple into the crowd. And the most beautiful goddess It's for the most beautiful goddess. So whoever the most beautiful goddess is, you need to fucking claw and
In
fight
a
for
room
it.
full of Olympians.
Full of Olympians.
Heads up their asses.
Athena, Hera, Aphrodite. Okay. So, of course, like, this is the apple of discord.
It is the golden apple.
The golden apple of discord, right? Because that's how she rolls. So they all fight over it. And I think, then they're fighting over it. And then Zeus was like, hey, Paris from Troy, you can pick the winner because these bitches are crazy right now. And like, they are just, they're all.
Zeus is like, I'm already on Hera's shit list.
Yeah, he's like, look, I am not gonna.
This needs to be someone else's problem.
All of these people. So Aphrodite goes, hey, Paris, like, if you win, I'll give you the love of Helen of Troy, who's, Helen, who's married to the king of Sparta.
That's right.
Troy, Sparta. So you're going with this.
She's promising someone else's wife.
Which she can very easily do. Okay,
Yeah.
This is Aphrodite, the goddess of love, right? So Paris goes, okay. So then Aphrodite wins. And that guaranteed the demise of Troy.
Because she gave Helen to Paris. And so then Sparta
And that started the Trojan
begins
War.
the war with Troy.
So that's fun. Ares.
I love Eris. Underappreciated.
Underappreciated. So female trickster goddesses are cool.
I love Eris. Who else?
Oh.
Who are other tricksters? There's Prometheus,
Yes.
who's also from Greek mythology. And Prometheus, through trickery and thievery, brings fire to the humans on Earth. Again, a gift giver.
Thank you, Prometheus.
Prometheus has made
A gift
fire.
giver. An innovative gift giver. This is someone who hand makes their gifts. This is not a...
Handmade on Etsy,
They
okay?
don't re-gift. They sell on Etsy. They're not giving you some whack gift. Why did I put an arrow and there's nothing there? Wow.
Something I really enjoyed reading about Eshu in particular comes from this book called Eshu, Divine Trickster and Master Magician by Denise Alvarado. And I think she summed it up really beautifully. Eshu is neither an evil spirit nor a demon, despite his continued portrayal as such. The Western stereotype of Eshu stems from a fundamental misunderstanding of the sacred role of trickster in non-Christian cosmologies. In most traditional cultures, the trickster archetype embodies a sacred role as teacher. The trickster raises awareness of the interrelatedness and interconnectedness between humankind, the natural world, and the spirit world. Eshu teaches us that no one is an island unto themselves. He humbles us through his trickery regarding this absolute truth. He watches us as we walk through life, and when we become too arrogant, he's right there to throw a wrench in the works and bring us back down to earth. I'm like, fuck yeah, that is the trickster. He helps keep us grounded, keep us humble.
And when you can laugh when things like that happen,
Laugh and learn.
instead of being hard on yourself and getting very upset, and that's doubling down on the trickster. That's the battle of wits with those situations to me. Because like wit is like a currency to the gods, right?
Totally.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I mean,
Even like when we were talking about the Mary Lude and how being witty when they come to your door is like how you get them to get the fuck out. Yeah.
Yeah, and
It really is currency.
in Stephen King's It, the climax of the book is a battle of wits between a giant fucking all-knowing turtle and the clown demon entity thingy. It's fucking weird.
Is Stephen
that's
King
the
okay?
thing. Dude, no.
Is that guy okay?
That book is not okay in a lot of ways. But, like, I would imagine he was inspired by reading about other battles of wits, it's a thing. But the humor is a currency. The wit is a currency because it's entertainment.
Yeah.
Right? And if gods and deities don't have the same humanistic pleasures as us, is that something we can share with them?
Yeah.
So
Absolutely. They don't
sing and
have a
dance for your
physical
spirits.
body.
And that's where we get back to
Exactly.
That's why they love to be entertained.
Performance is currency.
Performance is currency. Ooh, I love it.
Damn. I think we did it.
I think we did it.
Yeah. We'll probably talk about this again.
Yeah, there might be a part 2. Because I love it so much.
It never ends. Trickster makes the world go round, which is
Trickster
the
makes
name
the
of the book
That's an excellent book.
that started this whole
podcast. So, yeah.
Yeah. Somehow we both ended up with that same book in our hands.
Have we talked about that before?
I don't know. I
We
picked it up.
both ended up with the
Yeah.
book. I sent it to you, a picture of it to you, and you're like, I just thrifted this like 2 days ago.
Yeah. From like a used bookstore I had never gone in before.
That informed what this podcast was going to be. And gave us direction and gave us
Yeah.
permission and encouragement to talk about this shit
Truly.
that needs to be talked about. And it's affected my life very deeply. Like just my awareness, and this is what, it's really funny because was getting nudges, a lot of nudges from my spirits to speak. And I'm like, I don't want to talk about how to do a full moon spell. I don't care.
either.
I don't fucking care
Yeah.
about the things I'm seeing about witchcraft. I don't fucking care. I'm bored. I am hungry. And so when this came up, this has become what I think I was and we were supposed to be doing together.
Absolutely.
It's so fucking cool.
I know.
But it's like makes me want to cry because it's like
There's so
It's
much Trickster in this room.
there's so much Trickster in this fucking room right now. In many different ways. But
Should we share some of our
yeah.
good reviews?
And you know what? Y'all are enjoying it. So
we're going to keep doing it.
We're going to keep going in this direction because we started this also because we were fucking bored of what we were seeing. And there were things that were going on that needed to be addressed from a different point of view. And what is that? That's Trickster. That's what that needed
Absolutely.
from us. And I know we're just 2 people, but we're getting very good feedback. So yeah, let's read some good.
Let's see. So this is in regard to our Baneful Magic episode from season 1, which if you haven't listened to it, absolutely go back because they're all my favorite, but that's like an incredible episode.
Yeah.
This episode was excellent. They've all been great. Thank you. But I super enjoyed this one. I love all the history and the background information, and I love how every episode is very inclusive. This is a very important and beneficial episode for pretty much anyone, new or seasoned. Love how your podcast is growing.
Yay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Really, thank you.
Third Eye by Pod has been really amazing. 10 out of 10 recommend. Thank you. What else? I am loving and living for this podcast. The ease of conversation and soul family vibe between Laura and Kaitlyn is amazing. Thank you.
Soul family.
I love how you go in on these
Starseed.
topics.
I'm just kidding.
We'll do an episode about that.
That's the next episode.
Literally. I love how you go in on these topics. Looking forward to each new episode. Thank you.
Good.
They love us. The Twin Flame episode got a lot of feedback, and it was honestly a really fun one and fucked up one to make.
No, yeah.
This episode was very refreshing. Was a very refreshing discussion on twin flames. So nice to see more folks calling out made up new age shit, giving me inspiration for my own new age history research projects.
There was also someone, I think, that said that it validated that they were in like a toxic relationship.
That's actually one of my like my like clients, one of my mentees who
Good.
I remember when she was going through that experience, so it made me really happy to see her feedback about that episode, because
that's why we do this.
This is literally why we do it. Here, let's see if I can find that one, because it was just the other day here. Regarding twin flames, this fucking episode has helped validate and confirm my experience with twin flames. I had a friend that kept egging me on when I tried to stop chasing, which is part of the terminology, this guy, telling me, oh, that's your ego talking, that's your fear talking, instantly making me feel guilt and shame. I knew early on that this twin flame relationship was not what I wanted, and every time I tried to get out, my friend kept pulling me back in. One day I realized how incredibly toxic both relationships were and ended the friendship and stopped chasing the guy. Not everyone gets to this realization and is able to and continues on with unhealthy toxic relationships. This episode, they also touch on the cult-like feeling or having someone gaslight others into believing these twin flame connections.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they said thank you. Ooh, this is a cute one from the other day. Hi, Laura and Kaitlyn. I just want to say a big thank you for your podcast. I'm French, and although witchcraft is a huge topic right now in my country, which is making my 12-year-old self really happy.
That's cool.
French. I have trouble.
Oui, le croissant.
Merci, croissant. I used to feel so fucking embarrassed when we would go to Starbucks and my dad would be like, yeah, 2 coffees and a croissant. I'm like, Dad, Christ.
Dad, that's cute.
You're not even French.
That's cute.
A little bit. I don't understand.
That's cute.
I don't understand everything TBH, but I'm taking everything I can from those wonderful conversations you both are having. I hope my English is understandable. It is. Thank you.
Wow, listening to our podcast when you don't speak English is hard. I wish we could like
cool.
provide,
translation. Join our Patreon and support.
Yeah.
Support us so
Please
we can
give
pay a
us more money.
translator.
We can't afford to.
Send us dollars.
How dope would it be to have like an ASL interpretation
Right?
and all that?
We'll give them their own chair. They can just stand next to it. Like when you go to concerts and there's like an ASL interpreter, that'd be fucking cool.
That's the best part of the concert sometimes is watching them
Literally,
interpret.
yeah. It's the energy.
They can just be on a little screen right here.
But this person is listening to us from a middle-aged village in France.
I know.
How
where
cool
there's
is that?
Probably cool shit there. I would like to go.
Someone told me that they were listening to our podcast in the car on a road trip with all of their witchy friends. And I was like, that's delightful.
That's really, yeah. You know what's cool though? When you search Trickster into Spotify, our podcast comes up. One of the first ones.
Yes.
Because our
Thank you,
summary.
Hermes.
Isn't that cool?
That is fucking cool.
I was like, oh, because I was searching and I was like, oh.
That brings me joy.
That brings me a lot of joy. And I think the title of the show, too, is very trickstery. Because Third Eye Bind, it's a bind is a problem. A bind is also
A boundary.
A boundary.
Yeah.
A bind is also, a bind is a strengthening. And we're like rolling our eyes, which is Third Eye Blind is a band
From the 90s.
from the 90s, bitch.
Oh, I saw it at the Palladium on my 19th birthday, and it was so fucking good.
Yeah. And that's a pun. So that's
A play on words. That's trickery, for sure.
And yeah, we're rolling our eyes, which is sass. So
Thank you,
we're rolling our
Hermes.
eyes at spiritual crap.
Spiritual bullshit. Spiritual nonsense.
Stay tuned next week for more spiritual nonsense.
Yeah, we're going to get into it.
The next topic is going to be good.
I know.
Do you have any spirit candy? Is it time for
I don't know. Where are we at on time?
Spirit candy.
Channeled messages from our spirit guides.
I can do a spirit
week.
candy.
You do a spirit candy.
All right, I'll
I'm
do
ready.
a spirit candy this week.
Yeah, I'll do next week.
All right. I think this is from Juniper. It's really cool because I'm starting to like figure out. I'm like, I think this
You're
is
starting
from,
to tell the difference.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because as you guys know, if you've listened for a long time, I don't like know the names of all my spirit guides, and they're not but they're getting more specific because Kaitlyn gave me a lovely reading the other day. So we have more specificity to go on, which is matching with my intuition, and it's been cool. So
makes me excited.
It's cool.
I'm so happy.
It's a very cool thing that I love it. Okay, so I think this is from Juniper.
It would be.
My weed lady. Okay.
She's a plant
My
spirit.
flowery plant non-human spirit guide. Okay. Trickster. Your connection to your power cannot be touched by fellow humans if you don't let it. It is divine, sacred, and belongs to you. The specificity is in your blood. To ignore that is to search no more. To be... What the fuck, Juniper? Hold on. To ignore that is to search no more. To tie yourself to an uprooted tree.
Oh, fuck.
Fuck.
Yeah.
To be stuck and you're not stuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
to not recognize that your
you're-
magic is in your blood,
Is
which is
to
like your body, but also your ancestry.
restrict yourself.
Yeah. That's fucking cool.
That's trickstery, to be tied to an uprooted,
uprooted
tree.
tree. That's fucking
That's that's imagery.
Thank you, Juniper.
Damn, that's very true. Thanks, Juniper.
I love that. Wow.
I like that.
Thank you, Laura.
Thank you.
And thank you for tuning in once again.
To Third Eye Bind.
Be sure to leave us a message on the Third Eye line.
Please do.
Please do.
Thank you so much.
Until next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening. You can follow the podcast at Third Eye Bind Pod on Instagram. There, submit your questions via the Third Eye line by sending us a voice message or text DM. The show is available wherever you listen to podcasts and for you to watch on YouTube. Get early access to episodes and even monthly one-on-one sessions with us by joining our Patreon. Find us at patreon.com/thirdeyebind. Third Eye Bind is produced and edited by Mike Realm. Hosted by Kaitlyn Grania and Laura Wong. Music by Mike Realm. Set design by Laura Wong. You can find Laura on Instagram at Lady Moon Co. And you can find Kaitlyn on Instagram at Spirit Garden Tarot.